trying to make my life easier.
Okay. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Two Moms Save the World. We didn't podcast last week because I was in a shit mood.
Yeah.
So here we are.
I just let you be. I was just like, okay, Kate doesn't feel like it. That's okay. I'll just sleep in the next hour.
God, it was good. Yeah, you had to keep the matches away from me last week. So anyway, welcome to our podcast. My name's Kate, and this is my friend Uzma, who I love to chat with every Tuesday. And we have a really great guest, my friend Laura, who we went through a course together, right? We invested in ourselves and did a course together and learned so much fun stuff. So my friend Laura, she's really into lots of things. We're going to talk about astrology a little bit today and whatever else Laura wants to talk about. But first, I want to ask Uzma how her morning's been.
Oh my gosh, my morning has been really, really good because over the weekend I went to Chicago and so got to hang out with a lot of family and stuff. So that was really fun. Then we got back last night. So this morning I got up and I was just like, okay. It felt, it's Tuesday, but it was a long weekend. So it felt like Tuesday was a Monday. And I was just like, this week is just going to be so good. My energy's up. And I'm just going to do something amazing. So it was a really good morning. After a long time, I had this burst of energy. So, it just was amazing. So I'm waiting to see what unfolds.
Yeah, I feel like that's going around.
Yeah. I don't know. How was your morning?
My morning's good. Yeah. I mean, after, just a week of unknowns, right? Like I wouldn't say I was stuck per se. I was just in a real bad mood. But I do a monthly reading in my group, and the energy I pulled 3 cards, past, present, and future. And the past card, which was what I was dealing with, was death. And oftentimes, we go through these like stages that we just feel like total crap. We want to burn everything down. That's where I was. And it really is kind of like, the phoenix, right? Burn everything down so something new can rise. And I feel like that is really the energy that is kind of washing over a lot of us right now. So I have so many new ideas now, and just things that I'm looking forward to. So so I had a great morning. I sat in my closet like I normally do and meditated for a while. I slept late. I slept till 8 o'clock. I never sleep late. I'm usually up at like 6 or 6:30. And but I had a dream that I was talking to dogs, which I thought was fucking fascinating. So I gotta look that up after this.
But you know what I'm going to tell you is that, last week when you were feeling down and stuck and bad, that is actually a good sign. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
Right. When you're feeling stuck and blocked and upset, that means that something amazing is going to happen.
Things are emerging.
Your soil is turning.
Yeah.
So the flowers will blossom.
That's right.
I think that's amazing. You might have not felt good, but good stuff is going to happen now.
Yeah. The thing about it is like my husband still cannot learn just to stay away from me. He like has to poke the bear. He's like, what's wrong? What's going on? What's right? Like, and I'm like, just honestly, I just like, I don't like sometimes I just feel like I don't want to be on the earth anymore. And then he thinks I'm suicidal. I'm like, it is not that. I'm not suicidal.
Just want your alone time with your thoughts, right?
Yeah, well, I think the weight of the world becomes very heavy for some of us at times. And I see the injustices going on, and it bothers me to no end. And he's like, so stop watching the news. And I don't really watch the news. But you can feel it, right? You could just feel it. And I talk to people all day long, and I can feel what they're going through. I mean, I work at a grocery store, for God's sakes. Let me just tell you, we have a liter of fresh squeezed orange juice that used to be $10.99. Do you want to tell me? Do you want to guess how much it is right now?
$12.99.
$15.99.
What?
I'm seeing prices go up like that. And it's bothering me because I know like I'm okay, but these young people that work with me that are like, my rent went up, my car insurance went up, my groceries are going up, but I'm not getting paid any more money. So I think I have some work to do there. That's what I feel my calling coming.
That's what we do when we go to Chicago. We go to Devon Avenue, which is like this street that has grocery stores and everything, and the prices are like half the price. I mean, we live in a small town, Springfield, but
Yeah,
it's still half the price of what Springfield is.
interesting.
You know, like we can get, you know, spinach or something for like 99 cents there and get it for $2.99 here.
Yeah,
You know, so it's just amazing to see how the prices are going up.
yeah, it's just
You
crazy.
know, like my daughter's like, I don't have money for food. I'm like, I'll send you money, you know, because like everything, you know, I want to eat or want to buy, it's so expensive. And they don't want to cook at home. They want to eat out. So that's another whole thing. You know,
Oh, yeah, well, they
it's
need
really
to cook at home.
exactly. That's what I keep on saying. But
Yeah.
we don't live around each other, so it's okay. Whatever she
Yeah.
wants.
Well, I'm very excited to welcome our guest, Laura. How do you say your last name?
Ordeal.
I'm
an Ordeal.
Just
Married
like
into
it
the
looks.
perfect name. Married into the perfect name.
How was your morning?
My morning was pretty good. It's really rainy here today, so it was nice that I didn't have to be out in it, and got a few things done today. And so yeah, I love being productive. And I'm a morning person, so it always feels good to get up and get things kind of, I droop in the afternoon and the evening. Don't try to get me to do anything then.
Yeah, I'm the same way too. I'm really a morning person. So when I woke up and it was 8 o'clock, like I feel like half my day's gone, but it felt good. I definitely, you know, after expending all that energy like I did last week, I need to catch up. This is a time of rest for me. So Laura, tell us about astrology.
Talk about astrology. I was trying to figure out the best way to do this. I mean, astrology is so much fun. Astrology is also really scientific. It's pretty incredible. You know, it's been around for thousands of years. And it's this snapshot in time of when we came into the world and the influences that we have and that we work with. From being born at that time and the energies in the world at that time and what's going on. And so it's almost like we're infused a little bit with the energy of, you know, the particular influences of the planets. And I think a great way to maybe just kind of hop into it is to use your charts and
Fantastic.
talk about it a little bit in that way. So you both gave me your birth information, and just to let people know, the place that I go to pull the charts that I use is astro.com, and it's free and it's easy, and you enter in your birth information and boom, it pops up for you.
Oh, I'm on I've got Sanctuary. I've got all these apps.
Yeah.
I pull my horoscope, like I look at my horoscope every day, and sometimes it's like right on, like I can't tell you, it's like right on. And other times I'm like, that is absolutely not what's going on with me today. Yeah. But that's kind of, isn't that kind of how it is though? Like we all have these energies going through us, but they affect each one of us in different ways.
Yeah. And what you're looking at 9 times out of 10 is your sun sign. And that's kind of like the base layer. You know, that's one layer of you. It's kind of, okay, I'm a Gemini, so I'm going to come into the world and be, you know, this is my base point, my base camp is Gemini. And then you add in all these other amazing layers. And that's where the influences come in. And that's where life lessons come in. That's where our emotional base comes in, how we kind of emotionally live in the world. And so for you, Kate,
yeah,
one of the first things I'm going to talk about is the elements in your chart, because we all have elements in our chart. And some people, you might not have a particular, you might have 0 in one of the elements. And just to kind of say that off the bat, and if you have 0, that can mean one of two things. It means you came into the world knowing all about that particular element. You don't need to really practice it. You don't need to do too much. It's like a natural flow for you. Or you really need to put some effort into that one, and you'll kind of know, you know, through that. But there's this little bottom part on the chart from astro.com. If you look, it's on the bottom right hand side, and it has FAEW: fire, air, earth, and water. And it's funny because you both have like the same numbers but in different spots.
We did our human design, and we're very close with our design as well. So
yeah, I listened to that one. It was great.
It was funny.
That was so fun. Yeah, because it uses birth information.
Yeah.
So, And so on Kate, on yours, you have so they're planets, 1 planet in fire, 4 in air, 3 in earth, and 2 in water. And so pretty much what that kind of tells you off the bat is you're all about communication. You're all about talking. You're all about the idea. The idea is there for you. You'll pop around, 87 different kind of ways of thinking about things.
Yeah, I do that.
And so, and then going down to the next one, Earth, which is 3, that's the grounding. And one of the planets that is there for you is your sun sign, which is Capricorn, right? And that's that base layer. And Capricorns are, very work oriented, very much about doing it right, very much about having things, being in that accomplished. This is the way that you live life. You move.
Is this why I always rearrange the dishwasher?
This is what?
It has to be done right.
Yeah.
You're one of those
and that's an important thing.
Oh
and
my God.
It needs to be done right to optimize how much stuff you can get in it.
Oh, that's my husband. I don't load the dishwasher anymore because he just yells and we just leave everything like his, like we pile it and he has to, because if we do it, he'll take everything out and put it back in because it has to have a system.
I don't know why you just can't do it right.
Oh my God, you're one of those.
Just do right. So then the next one is water for you, at which you have 2 planets in. One of them happens to be your moon. So, you're talking about that kind of not just being cranky and feeling for someone who has an emotional stance that their moon is in a water sign, they feel things in their body so deeply. I mean, they feel and feel and feel. That's kind of where their psychic center is too, is in the body. And it's also, it can get overwhelming. You need to retreat and have that, cleansing time, that quiet time, that time where it's just, because if you don't, then you are in that kind of, and you might not even know why. It's like, I don't even know why I'm feeling like this.
Yeah.
It's
that happens. So yeah.
Openness that's there, just like being in a big body of water, it's all open and kind of floating around.
I need you to call my husband and tell him that, like, because he needs to know why. He's like, why are you feeling like, I'm like, there's no why. It's just, I feel this going on. And it's super hard for him to understand because he's a Gemini. He needs to know why. And I'm like, oh my God, there's no.
Yeah. It is hard for, I'll tell you, I have a son who's deep in water, and for me, having conversations with him, I want to ask all the questions. And for him, he's like, why are you asking all the questions?
Yes.
It makes him a little bit crazy. But for me, if I have some information and I know, what I know, then I feel better. For him, being able to just be in that, having to explain it is kind of difficult. So what's interesting too about, I love people with gifts in water and with that, is they see things that other people don't see. It's like looking at one of those beautiful underwater pictures where you can just see so clearly all of the fish and the colors and the brightness, and there's kind of the upper layer and then you see underneath all the water. That's people with deep water connections really can see all of the little underlying things, and it's beautiful. And it's like, oh my goodness, I can see all of the emotions. I can, because they can feel it. It's a clarity that comes to them in a way that doesn't really come to other people. Me, having to look down in that sometimes, I do have a lot of air in mine. I look at it and it's kind of murky. It's kind of murky. I'm like, yeah, I know there's cool stuff down there, but I don't know if I want to dive in. Let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand. But for you,
Interesting.
so then, and your last one, you have in fire, you have 1 sign in fire. And so the balance for this, the importance of the elements is to bring them into balance kind of on a daily basis. We always have every element in our day, every element. We wake up, we go to the bathroom, we get a drink of water, there's water. We move in and have some conversation, there's air. We move into our day, out into the world, doing our thing, manifesting, bringing about, there's earth. We come home, we want, to move things in motion in our home. We sit by the fire, we do all that. We have the fire that's there. Fire can be during the day too, where you're out and moving your body, doing those things. So we have all of those elements. And the importance is to tap into each one. It's like the four tires of a car. You know, if you have one that's really pumped up and one that's not so pumped up, it's not such an easy ride. But if you're able to kind of bring them all into balance, smooth ride, you know, you're moving down the road. So
Interesting. I like
one
that.
of the things too, and I'm just going to go, I'll hop over Uzma for yours. You have 4 planets in fire. All right. 4 planets in fire. So it's about moving your body. It's about being blunt. It's about saying the things you need to say, about standing up for others, about really kind of being a warrior in the world, you know, and there's.
I've gotten in trouble a lot for standing up for others because I'm the only one who's standing up. Everybody knows that they should stand up, and I'm the only one who's standing up, and no one backs me up, and so then I look like a crazy person. That's
Interesting.
Keep looking like the crazy person, because
Yeah.
what you need to understand about that is you're actually lighting the fire for other people. You might not see it happening right away, but through the fire that you put into the world, through the presence that you put into the world, you are giving the other people energy. It's like leaving this big trail of fire behind you that everyone else can kind of light their own torch off of. And so you're doing things whether you see it or not, and you're giving to people in a way that.
Well, that's good, because I've started, as I'm getting older, not trying to stand up and light that fire because it's burned me a lot. Seriously, you know, like if I see something wrong, I'm like, that is wrong, and everybody else knows it's wrong, but nobody else has the guts to stand against somebody else or to be like, yes, that's wrong. And here I am by myself. So I've kind of like been like, okay, I know that's wrong and I'll know that, but I'm not going to voice it out anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be a scary place to be, because it does feel like, you know, and there's a lot of people looking at you, and a lot of people kind of, it feels like, oh my gosh, what if I am my blunt self? What if I do say the things I need to say?
Yeah.
What are they going to think? You know, oh my goodness. And
But I have to say, the one person I can say anything to is Kate. Yeah, I can be like anything, and she's like, yeah, I get it. So
Yeah.
she's the person I can say anything to.
You know, I've
then you
always
have-
been that person for my friends though, like being a Capricorn and being kind of heavy in the earth. I've always been pretty grounded. Like things do rattle me sometimes, but for the most part, I'm pretty grounded. So people are drawn to me. And I guess that's where like that we learned that in human design, like I'm not supposed to go chasing stuff. Things need to come to me. And maybe that is part of it in my astrology as well. Like people will come to me because they're like, I just feel so comfortable with you. You're like, I've had people tell me I feel very grounded around you. So,
Yeah. Well,
So, yeah.
and then Uzma, you also have 3 planets in Earth. So you have that Earth connection as well. And that the amazing thing about Earth people is they show us about manifestation. They show us about the connection to Earth. They show us all of those amazing things that we can bring into our life that feel good, that foundational. It's very foundational in Earth. And then you have 2 planets in air and 1 planet in water. But the 1 planet in water happens to be Jupiter, which is pretty expansive. So, and that sits, give me 2 seconds and I'll tell you where that sits. Let me find it. And that sits in Scorpio. So, and Scorpio is a deep dive into things, into transformation, into the things that sometimes people don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about death and sex and taxes and all of the things that are there. I mean, that's just the truth, but you are willing to step up and say, let's have a conversation about this. And then sometimes that is overwhelming because, you know, Scorpios kind of like to go down and dig in their little burrow and hide for a while. You got to make sure you're popping back up and coming up for air, you know, and breathing, because Scorpio is deep dive. And with that expansion with Jupiter there, it influences you in pretty much all the other areas. So Kate, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Around, I'm going to say 1996, 1997, maybe, would have been some big changes in your life. Does that ring a bell?
1996, 1997. So I guess I got married in 99.
Okay.
I did a lot of traveling in the did I do a lot of traveling? Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to go back and
So what that time frame, and for you, Uzma, that would have been around 98, 99.
98, 99, I had my second baby.
Okay. So
My
what
third one,
happens?
Yeah, third one.
This is
98.
around between 28 and 30, 28, 29, 30 in
Yeah.
our life. We have what's called our Saturn return. And this is a really huge check-in. Saturn is all about life lessons, about soul purpose, about kind of the agreements that we made coming into this world to say, okay, this is where I'm gonna direct a lot of energy. And Saturn is a bit like the high school principal. It kind of guides the way, and it comes along and it says, hey, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? You got your hall pass? Are you onto the class that you need to be, moving into? Are you doing that thing? And sometimes it can be a pretty intense check-in. A lot of times people will say, that's when my divorce happened. That's when everything came crashing in, my whole life changed. On the other end, they'll say, that is when my whole life changed. That's when I got married. That's when I had a baby. That's when my whole spiritual outlook shifted. There is that change. And we normally have two of them. So, you have another one in another 28, 30 years that comes and checks in your 50s or so.
And so it should be coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for you, Kate, your Saturn is in Aries. So this is about needing, and I think Uma's a great contrast to you here, needing to learn to be bold, that it's okay to be blunt, that you are a warrior, that you did agree to come in. And Aries is a lot about self. And so sometimes people who have strong placements in Aries will be told they're selfish, or it's all about you, or how come you're not, thinking about this, kind of more in younger years, but because they learn to practice and move in that energy a little bit as they move through it. But it's not about that. It is about recognizing within yourself the energy that you have, the gift that you have, the ability to move in the world and help other people.
Yeah.
and stand for them. And it is okay to push against things. It is okay.
I feel like this whole past week, like I have felt incredibly selfish. However, let me just say, I felt incredibly selfish, but I feel like I should have pushed that selfishness earlier on in my life, right? And so I do not apologize now for feeling that selfishness, because I'm like, I should have been doing this all along. And this selfishness is really me taking back who I am, right? Like pushing back, saying, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do what you want me to do anymore, right? Like this is my life now. So that's kind of some energy that came up with me last week too.
Yeah.
I told my husband, I'm like, I know I'm like super selfish and I'm being very bitchy. And he's like, no, you're not. But it's,
and one of the life lessons there for Aries with a Saturn placement is to fight.
I want to say something that's really interesting to me, because I'm Aries and I'm very self-centered. It's all about me. Seriously, I'm not kidding. It really is. I've been an only daughter. My parents spoiled me. I get whatever I want from my husband. So that's why I'm really big into self-care, because I've always done it. Like moms will say, I can't do self-care, I don't have time. I don't get that a lot of times, because I'm like, when I want to get a facial, I just say, I'm getting a facial. You watch the kids, or I find a babysitter or something. Or if I need to just be alone, I'm like, I need my alone time. I don't make those excuses like I can't, because I make sure that I do be selfish for myself in the area of self-care.
Good for you.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
When moms say, to me a lot of times, well, I don't have the time, I can't do it, I don't know what. It really looks, this is, me today, but it really looks like an excuse to me, because I make sure that it's all about me.
Good.
That's interesting.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. And you do it, but if you're doing it in a healthy way, it's not
in a healthy way. Yeah, exactly. I'm not mean or anything, but I know when it's my time, I'm gonna make sure that I'm first.
There you go. And that's an important place. I think
that's how I got into what I'm doing, because I never understood, and I want to make people understand that you can't take care of yourself.
Yeah. Love it.
Okay, go ahead.
Absolutely.
Sorry. I just had to say that because I mean, I think I
No,
have.
that's great.
Well,
And one of
that,
the
and that Kate is like, I'm going to be selfish. I'm
Yeah.
going to do it. I love that.
Yeah.
When people say they're going to be selfish for me. Bravo.
yeah. Well, and one of the life lessons with that, with fire, with Aries, especially, is to fight for love and to stay close to others, even though there is that big push for independence. Is to find the balance kind of in that space, and know that it's okay to be in those spaces. It's okay to have those moments that you need of self-care, and to really let yourself be seen. It's good to let yourself be seen in a way that you want to be seen. And that's a wonderful part of that Saturn energy. And for you, Uzma, in Saturn, your Saturn is in Taurus. Oh, I don't even talk. So there's the planet in the house, and they both have influences. And I wrote down that yours is in Taurus, and it's in the 11th house. And that is about being in the body full time. It's a full-time job. Being in the body for you is a full-time job. It's there are a few things that people with this placement can tend to have. First of all, they can be workaholics. It's
That's
really
you.
important to them to be in that space. They can have a ridiculous tolerance for pain, and move into the world in a way that some people, they would say, oh, this hurts so much, and this person would go, oh, I have that, but it's just a part of kind of my day. It doesn't register at the same level for them as it does. And sometimes they can end up being a little bit judgmental around themselves, or kind of being in that space. This is also a big thing. There's money lessons come from this placement. Manifesting security, not rushing into things, and to not complain about the fact that it's not happening as fast as you think it should happen. That's one of the life lessons that's there.
Yeah.
It is about kind of, having the plan, moving through, but knowing that it is the process is happening, and it's moving along, and to accept the fact. And I'll tell you what, I have this in another placement, Taurus, and this is a hard thing for me sometimes. It's like, no, I want it to happen. I want it to happen now.
Yeah.
But it is kind of about letting it flow out in the way that it needs to flow out, and kind of moving into that energy. But it is a very, again, foundational energy, very amazing. And one of the things with Tauruses is they love texture and kind of the luxury, the feel. They want to have that luxury in their lives, and they find ways to bring that in, even if it's a beautiful throw, an awesome pillow, going to a spa, like you said, going and having those things done. That's an important balance in there, because it's very soothing for your soul.
Yeah.
So stepping into that, knowing that, accepting that, loving that about yourself is a great place to go with that. So, and then we all have, so when you look at the chart, and I know that some of this is just, verbal on the podcast and stuff, but when you look at the chart, you're going to see that there's these red lines, and there's these blue lines, and there's these things. And so there are these long blue lines that connect, and they're going to connect kind of in the same element. So it's fire, water, earth, air. And for you, Kate, you have, and these are called gifts. These are the gifts that we come in, and you have some in water and in air. It's at that emotional level and in that communication level. So those are natural things for you to be able to work in. You also have something called a T-square. And this is a little bit of kind of ants in the pants thing. And for you in the T, I think it's funny because you both have T-squares. And so, which is not like in everyone's chart.
Definitely have ants in our pants.
The T-square, where did I write it? I wrote it down somewhere. Maybe I just wrote it. I can look on here. Oh, so the T-square for you, Kate, the ants in the pants, the energy that comes and builds, and it's like the energy that you were talking about, that's kind of, I don't know what's going on, and I'm just feeling like something needs to release. And the release for you is in the element of water. So it is in that emotional realm. It is moving into the emotions, feeling the emotions, letting them move through your body, and literally being in water. which sounds kind of silly, but anytime you want to bring an element in,
Yeah.
go to the literal element.
Yeah, it is not silly. I think part of my angstiness that comes out is that I live in the mountains, and I know we have mountain lakes and shit like that, but I want to be in warm water. I don't want to be in cold, icy, snowy water. And so I do have this need to, like, my husband's looking at houses up in the mountains. I'm like, I don't want to live in the mountains. I need a beach house. I need to be by the water that I can immerse myself in. So yeah, I feel that like deeply the older I get.
Yeah. And that's a great way for you to let things, and it's an emotional thing too. So if you watch something that brings out the emotions for you, whether it's a funny movie, a movie that makes you cry, or listen to a song that brings you, an emotional boost in some way, that's another way for you to kind of feel into that type of a thing.
Cool.
And Uzma, yours is your T-square. The release point is in Leo in the first house in fire.
And so it is
that's
really
fire.
My husband is a Leo. My husband is a Leo.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's about being seen. Leos are so cute. Leos are amazing because they are the ones that they're like, I am beautiful, I'm amazing, but don't look at me. So they go back and forth between this energy, but they love to be beautiful and they love to be seen. And they have this amazing connection in that love realm, and kind of with children too. Sometimes they can be like the performer, they can be the presenter, they can be that person on stage. And so in being in that place for you, being a little bit of a show off is a great way for you to release the energy that comes that might kind of feel like a little bit weird.
I'm always showing off on Facebook, aren't I, Kate?
You are. Yes. Yeah.
That's
You
great.
also
You're
have
balancing it
some
out.
other very cool outlets, like Uzma watches Pakistani drama and rates it.
Yeah. I just try. Yeah, I like to be like on TV or something like that. I have had like a TV show and a radio show before too.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
That's perfect for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like to be out there. I'm not shy about that.
Yeah.
So one more thing I want to tap into for sure before we finish up today.
I'm loving this.
And I could go into all these different layers.
Yeah. Laura, I wanted to ask you, why is it that you think that so many of us, we think we're astrologists? Because when you talk to somebody, you're like, oh, what sign are you? We think if they tell us the sign that we know all about them, or we understand why they're communicating this way. Astrology is just something that people just already think that they're an astrologist. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I think that's true. Well, and I think because it comes from those horoscopes and stuff, that we're kind of raised on, that's always available, that's usually the first introduction that people get kind of to astrology is, here's your horoscope.
Yeah, because if somebody rubs you the right or the wrong way, then you think to yourself, I wonder what sign they are, just to justify how you feel about them or their personality.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I think that's interesting.
It's a little bit of a baseline, but as you see, there's so much more involved in it, and so many more layers to the person and the connections that are there. And so what, like I spoke about the gifts and things that are there, there's also what are called oppositions. Those are the struggles for people. And where did I write that? I made notes all over the place. So, but just looking at your chart, I can tell the oppositions for you, Kate, run between Aries and, is it Aries? Yeah, it's Aries and Libra. And so it is that constant thing of I need to be in that self place. I need to be doing things for myself. I need to have that independence. And at the same time, trying to be in the balance of the relationship, trying to be in the place of helping other people, doing the things to bring balance to them. Kind of think of yourself like at a party. It's being the one running the party, and at the same time being the person that kind of goes around and makes sure everybody's having fun.
Oh my God, that's why I don't like having parties anymore. Honestly, well, thank God for COVID, like, because I felt like, my husband's super social and he would invite all these people to our house and we'd go grocery shopping and we'd get all this stuff. And then he's like, I'm going to help. I'm going to help. I'm going to help. And then people start showing up and he's done.
Yeah.
And so I'm left like making sure all the hors d'oeuvres get out, making sure that everybody's taken care of. And I'm super resentful of it. But I think that's kind of the analogy of what I feel like. I do get a lot of resentment because of it. So I need to figure out how to balance that.
Well, and to balance that, think of yourself as a cooperative leader.
Oh, I thought you were going to say move to the ocean.
I want to lead, so you can acknowledge both sides. I want to lead, and to make sure that everyone is having a good time, enjoying themselves. You can be both versions of those by blending them together and knowing that you don't have to take on one or the other. You bring them into balance and go, oh, I'm feeling that resentment. Which part of that is, is it because I'm having to be the leader? Well, I'm going to release that a little bit. I'm going to go around and have a good time right now. And I'm literally going to speak out and say, I need you to do this part for me while I'm doing this other part, and so that's an amazing part of that. And then for you, Uzma, the opposition for you is, and I think I have one of these same oppositions, similar, is with Scorpio and Taurus. And that's being intense and being relaxed and laid back, and kind of bouncing back and forth in between those emotions. And for you, that is between Jupiter and Saturn. So that is that expansiveness and the life purpose, the life lessons, the soul, journey of things. And so it's kind of like, well, I need to really be, deep diving in things. I really need to. And the other side of that goes, can't we just keep it simple? Can't we just kind of be in that range
all the time? Yeah.
And so for you, it's kind of a gentle power to acknowledge there. It's saying, I enjoy pleasure with intensity. So you enjoy the simple things at an intense level, and that's okay. That's who you are. That's a great part of who
That's
you are.
kind of cool. Yeah, I like that.
So that's there. And then I just want to speak to the emotional, two things, the emotional realm, which is that natal moon. And the natal moon is, if you were pushed up, in a corner, how would you come out emotionally? What would be the way that you respond? And for you, Kate, that is, that's in water, that's in Pisces. All right. And so that is, and it's also in the third house. You need to write, to communicate at that emotional level, your feelings, you communicating about them. And at the same time, kind of pulling away is important to you. Like, I mean, it just falls into everything you were talking about.
Yeah.
It's essential for you to feel into things and to, at the same time, go recharge, but not to stay away for a long time.
Yeah.
You have to reconnect, because you can pull yourself away and stay in that place for too long where you're at not connecting. And that's just going to really feel uncomfortable and deep and dark and not in a fun place for you.
And on that, okay, writing and that is so you. I'm like, oh my God, that is her.
I know, it's amazing. Same.
And there's a part of our moon that is called the progress moon. And what that means is we are given the opportunity for about 29 months to experience the nuances of each sign and how that feels to be emotionally in that place. So it moves and travels, and we're given that gift of going, oh, I'm feeling this way a little bit, which is, I mean, you still have your base, you still have that natal moon, but it kind of moves you in a direction. And that's the progress moon. And for you, Kate, it's been in Aquarius for about 14 months. And so I'd say around March of 2021, maybe, you kind of moved into a natural place of kind of drive into networking, into community, into kind kind of maybe even dipping into the more scientific side of things, at the same time, the freaky side of things,
Yeah,
finding
I
the
think that's pretty
perfect.
true. Yeah.
And so it would be like loving, for example, the quantum jump and quantum physics, going into both of those and going, I love them both. I
Yeah.
really want to know the science side. I really want to know the wild woo-woo side. And so for you right now, that connection of community is really showing you what it's like, because in Aquarius, that's what it's about. It is about that connection, about the networking, about kind of tapping into the energy of so many different people and just noticing it and not having to go deep into any of those relationships necessarily, having them kind of at a more surface level and feeling good about that. It's like,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm good with
Yeah. I feel
that.
totally like that with, I started working at Whole Foods, and those are kind of the relationships I have. And being work people, I can be like, oh, I'm just keeping you here at work. I can enjoy your energy and who you are, but just here at work.
And that's exactly right. And and it feels good. And that's what it
Yes.
feels like in Aquarius, in that space. And so, at the emotional level, what it is kind of for Aquarians. So, which would be Uzma. Uzma, her moon is in Aquarius. And so that's kind of the natural placement for you. It's in Aquarius, it's in the 8th house. So there's transformation, especially around the community, that is at the heart of things for you. And so I would say probably you're really good about talking about your feelings, sometimes not necessarily taking the time to actually experience them or feel into them. It's like, oh, I need to tell you about this, and I need to tell you how I'm feeling. But then going, oh, I really need to kind of feel how that feels. I need to feel the joy. I need to feel the sadness, because you're busy doing other things.
Yeah.
So you sometimes need to kind of move into that a little bit. You do know the dark side of the emotional realm. You've seen it up close and personal in your life, around you. If it wasn't just you, I'm guessing there was maybe experiences in your life that showed you that. And it gives you kind of a pause or a thought for you to really search for balance throughout life. It's like, I don't want to live in that dark spot. I've seen that. I don't want to go in there. So let's bring the balance in. Let's find the light. Let's move into the beautiful things. And the Aquarian side of that really does allow you to do that.
I love that.
So right now,
Yeah.
is that, yeah?
I think when my father passed away, I think that's when I really saw the dark side, because it was the first like really close death.
Yeah.
And so that was like really intense.
Yeah. And 8th house is all around that. It is death and transformation
Right.
and kind of the side of things, like I said, that people don't necessarily want to talk about, but that are there, that we all experience.
Yeah.
And you have an understanding for that. That is pretty beautiful, actually.
Well, you know what I think before, when people's family member would die or something like that, I'd be like, oh, I feel bad for you and I feel so sad, but I wouldn't get it. But after experiencing it myself, when somebody in somebody's family dies, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, so like, I feel it, I get it. And I know how to help you or talk to you now,
Yeah.
because I can connect with you. So I think that's kind of what it is. Yeah.
So, and then for you right now, your progressed moon has just moved into Capricorn just about 3 months ago. So, and then on the house, it's about halfway through the 6th house. So for you, it's shifted into a deeper sense of getting it done, of getting things done, of seeking established order, which is that kind of space that Kate really likes and moves into. It's a strong need to achieve. And this is where long-term goals are really starting to kind of come in and think you're like, I need to be thinking about that. I need to be kind of moving into what I want to see long-term. And so that's what it feels like for the Capricorn. That's what it feels like. And you're getting to experience that. It's in play for you right now. And so it stays in it stays in the house, or not in the house, in the sign for about 29 months. So you're about halfway through yours, Kate, and you just started this. So you're going to be experiencing at an even deeper, stronger level over time. And some of the interesting things with the progress moon is that if you're not acknowledging that, if you're like, no, I don't want to talk about long-term goals. I don't want to talk about foundational stuff. I don't want to move in that direction about getting stuff done. You'll actually have some experiences in your body that show up that say, you know what? You are not listening to what I'm saying right now. And so the little freebie that I sent earlier, I kind of put together some of that where you can read and see some of the things. But so for you, for example, if you were not living up to the Capricorn energy, not stepping into it, at least to explore it. I'm not saying you have to deep dive, but just letting it kind of flow into your life. You might find some issues in the bones and the joints, your knees bothering you, gallbladder, skin, teeth, and nails would be affected. So if there were things coming out in that, it would be like, I need to tap into that Capricorn energy a little better. I need to flow in that energy some more. And then it would literally clear some of those imbalances. And for, was yours Pisces? Is that what I said? I can't remember.
For me?
Yeah. What was your, that's not right.
No.
No, it's Aquarius.
Yeah, Aquarius. No,
You
Uzma
are
was Aquarius.
She's Aquarius natal, and yours right now is in the progress moon.
So
And
I'm
so
Aquarius
you're living through that energy. And so if you were seeing issues in the calves and ankles and circulation, that would be a little bit of a sign to you, a little bit of saying to your subconscious even, hey, we need to be networking a little more. We need to be exploring humanity, volunteering, digging deeper into the scientific or the woo-woo world. So those are some great
I'm doing
ways.
all that stuff. So I think I'm flowing.
So you shouldn't be having any issues in those
No,
areas.
I'm not.
So.
And the funny thing about like circulation is, so this is wild that you said that. I started, I guess like a week ago, I started at work and I'm like, I'm just a rebel at work. I'm like, how can I disrupt this industry? Like, how can I just be a pain in everyone else's ass, but be helping people at the same time? And so I started, I'm standing here for 8 hours, 100 squats a day. I started doing that at work and I do it at home. So I do 100 squats a day. And that has been really interesting as well. Like, so it's funny you said like in my calves and my ankles and stuff.
Yeah.
I just started.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so see, it's working. It's moving in the energy that it's supposed to be moving in. You're tapping into it in a way that you should be. And that's amazing. Yeah, so as you can see with astrology, I mean, we can dig into all the layers. I can talk to you about the mind and how that works for you. And, because that's Mercury. And then the wonderful thing about it too is that you can go in and look at what are called transits, which are the energy of things that are going on right now. And we have some similarities that are going on for everyone because the planets are in certain areas, right. But it also influences you individually in certain ways, that it might be in a different house for someone. Like right now, oh my gosh, just lost my word. Not Uranus. Neptune, there we go. Neptune is moving through a space that is so incredible. It's moving through like its home area. And so for all of us, and it's still going to be there for another couple of years, it opens the veil. It opens the veil to all of the wonderful things that are out there, all of those crazy, wild, wacky, woo, and wonderful things that the mystical, the magical. And so if you right now, over the next couple of years, if you are tapping in to any of those energies, and I'm going to say literally just tapping, like, I want to learn about that. I'm going to grab that book. I love that course. I'm doing that. Check into that course. If you're tapping on something, it's like putting it into your own library. Okay. Even if you don't follow all the way through right now, it opens the door for you and allows you to access that energy in such an amazing and deep way. You will always carry that with you. And when that time kind of closes, I'm not saying that it won't be still available to people, but it won't be in such a clear and vivid, amazing way. So if you're feeling drawn to some of those things, go for it right now. Go for it, because it will come in at such a soul level for you that it's like, it's kind of like, you tap on something and it just is automatically absorbed in there for later use, so that somewhere down the line, that knowledge is already there, even though you only barely, took a little teeny piece of it. It's
Right.
inside of you. That's what it's like right now with that energy for everyone.
Interesting.
And
I feel
so,
that I'm like picking up like things that I'm interested in and just reading. I'm reading so much. Like at work on my breaks, all I do is I have my headphones in and I'm just listening to my audibles and I'm like immersed.
Yeah.
yeah, and this is a great time to do it, because it's going to, for those people that take advantage of that, it's the life changer, and it's something that you will carry with you from now on
Oh, this
for
is
the
so
rest of
exciting.
your life. So
Exciting. This has been so fun talking to you. What time is it? Oh gosh, we've gone on, which is amazing. This has been so fun.
So awesome.
We'll have to have you back for season 2 and we'll talk more
Yes.
about the mind, because I'm all about the mind too.
Yeah.
I love.
So great. I love the way you explain it, and your voice. It's just so like, I understand and just feel it. It's really nice.
Yeah, you guys on the podcast who are listening, you missed. We asked Laura like her definition of like the quantum leaping quantum field, like just quantum energy, and we got the most amazing explanations. One of the best explanations I have ever heard. So you're gonna have to wait till season
2. Exactly. We're gonna ask her again, and you all can listen to that, and we can do
Yes,
an episode on like the quantum leap or something like that too.
absolutely. And Laura did send us a freebie and we will post that in the show notes. And Laura, tell me the name of your group. If anybody wanted to jump into your Facebook group, tell me your website, and we'll put all this in the show notes, but just speak it.
my group is Change Gang. And I would absolutely love to have you come be a part of that. That's actually also the name of the podcast that I do, is called The Change Gang. And so it's super fun there. And my website, which is not super active right now,
That's okay.
more active on social media at the Laura Odile or Laura Odile Mindset Mentor. I'm on Instagram at Laura Odile. So those are the best places to find me. You can search Laura Odile and you'll see my website. It's pretty focused right now on it was built around my hypnosis, NLP, that type of stuff. It does have a little bit of the astrology and intuitive work that I do on there, but you can find me on social media and I'll chat your ear off.
That is something I do know about you. I know that you're super chatty. You were in our group, and I loved it though, because so many people are so not like in that group that we had. There are some people, it was like trying to pull teeth to get them to talk about anything. And Laura's like, I'll talk. Is there time available? Let me talk.
Gemini, I got a lot of Gemini in my chart, so I'm pretty chatty.
So Laura, do you give one-on-one readings for astrology?
I do. Okay. I absolutely do. I do astrology. I do one-on-one. I do one-on-one for most things. So I do one-on-one for astrology. I do it for intuitive work. I do it for hypnotherapy, if you want to make some changes that way, because that's the best way.
So if you all love the information that you got today about us, you can get your own information specific to yourself. Yeah.
It's fun to be relatable and to explain it in a way that you can see how it applies in someone's life. And knowing that, I just think knowing so much about yourself allows you to move in the world in an easier way.
And with more confidence and not thinking you're just crazy, right? Like those episodes or maybe that just I have, that's part of you. That's supposed to happen. That's how you process.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Wonderful. Amazing.
Like I love the way that, you told me that I'm like the person who stands up there and lights a fire, because I always thought that there was something wrong. Why am I the only one? And now I realize that that's in my chart, and that's
if I ever need a bridge burned, I'm calling Uzma.
Oh yeah, totally. I can totally do that. Yeah, and it's so funny though, because like I will stand up and then nobody will say anything, but then quietly they'll be like, you did the right thing. I'm so glad. Or then they come on my side, but they won't stand up in the platform with me, but they'll kind of like be following me or like right behind me.
That's interesting, because that's what's happening in your group as well.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, so much fun.
Right.
Thanks so much, Laura. Yeah, we'll get you scheduled
Right.
for season 2.
Thank
Awesome.
you. Thank you. It was a joy to be here. It was a joy
Yeah,
to be with both of
great.
you.
Oh, so great to connect.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye.